Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the largest gated community in North America, spanning 26,000 acres in the Ouachita Mountains in south central Arkansas. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and some occasional guests as we explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. McGraw Realtors, located in the heart of Hot Springs Village, is the fastest growing real estate office with over 30 agents and staff. Executive brokers Lori and Ken Henderson, along with realtor and waterfront specialist Rick Marshall, they're eager to share the special features of Hot Springs Village with you. For a complimentary relocation packet, call Ken and Lori at 501-276-3018 or call Rick Marshall at 501-601-RICK. They are McGraw Realtors of Hot Springs Village. Renaissance Homes builds spec homes ready for sale and custom homes. Brandon Tedder and his team make the process easy. Renaissance Homes incorporates solid construction methods from the ground up. Brandon is a certified green builder. With a fixed price approach, detailed spec sheet, you'll know upfront how much it will cost. Every job has a dedicated project manager and an in-house design expert. From permitting to landscaping, Renaissance Homes is the preferred builder headquartered right here inside Hot Springs Village.
A couple of weeks ago, I started opening up my Zoom room. Surely you know about Zoom. You know, Zoom is it's an online video kind of conferencing platform. I do a lot of my work by way of Zoom. And I started opening up my Zoom room to members of the Hot Springs Village Inside Out audience about 3 weeks ago. And I've had some terrific conversations with a number of you. If you're interested, just drop me an email, hello@hsvinsideout.com. That's the email address, hello@hsvinsideout.com. So I started having these Zoom room meetings, and I did it for two reasons. Number one, I did it because I wanted to hear from you. I wanted to kind of hear the specifics of, okay, your situation, what is it you're looking for, what are your concerns, and to help you. The second reason for it was so that I could gather that information and it would hopefully help me produce better shows, better content, and address some of your concerns. And so I've been doing this for about 3 weeks now. This isn't an everyday thing. I typically do this about once a week. And so I think I've done it 3 different times now. And it's been very insightful. It's been very insightful. And for those of you that have jumped on those Zoom calls with me, I hope it's been helpful for you. I'm telling you that because that's what prompted today's show. And I'm gonna talk today about retiring richer and how Hot Springs Village could play into that for you. Now, let me define rich or richer. Yes, first and foremost, we're going to talk money. We're going to talk cost of living. We're going to talk taxes and that kind of stuff. But, you know, you could find a place that's really cost effective. I was reading today, there's some big retired NBA player who built a $37 million complex down in Florida, and it's a building. It's just a big building. Don't know where it's at, and it's got some amenities, and they say that the rent is like $322. Now, I don't know how big of a place. I don't know if that's one bedroom. I don't know anything about the details. But you could read that and you could think, man alive, if you could retire into a place and your monthly overhead to live there was $322, and even if you had to pay utilities on top of that, I mean, how cost effective is that? I mean, how rich could you be? However, it could be that you'd be miserable. So rich, yeah, we need our money to go further. There's just no question about it. But we want our money to go further, and we want our everyday life to be the highest quality that we can get, don't we? So if you're thinking about retiring and you're trying to consider where to do that, or, and this is the second group of you, or you've already retired, and wherever you're at, for whatever reason, things have changed. And the stories that I'm hearing from you directly, I think first and foremost, they stem from the cost. When we moved here some years ago, people will tell me, wherever they're talking about, when we moved here, it didn't cost this much, and now it costs this much. And the things that I'm hearing range from, when we first moved here, they had an HOA, and the HOA was $150, and now it's $450 a month. Or when we moved here, our homeowner's insurance was a certain price, and now our homeowner's insurance is 4 to 5 times that. And so there's a chunk of you out there who you're being displaced because you can't afford to stay there, or if you do afford to stay there, you're going to burn through your retirement at a much faster pace than you anticipated. And so these are kind of the two groups that I know our show is talking to primarily. Those of you that are looking to retire for the first time, and where are we going to do that? We want to go to some place and we want our dollars to go further. But then there's that retire richer part of it that doesn't have anything to do with money. I think the money is the bar that we got to jump over. If we can't jump over the money bar, everything else probably is of no consequence. Then we start looking at, okay, I need affordability, but I also kind of want what I want. Do you want beaches? You're not going to want to come. Well, you're not going to want to come to Arkansas, are you? I mean, come on. If you want a beach, you're gonna head to a coast. You're gonna head to where there's an ocean. You could be on water. And I talk to a lot of people, and they're like, we love water. We love water. Well, loving water is a little different than loving the ocean. Loving water is a little different than loving a beach. I know people that even late in life, surfing. Okay, well, you're not going to surf here. So I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about how much they loved Santa Fe, New Mexico. Santa Fe, New Mexico is a lovely place. It's an interesting place. Me, personally, Santa Fe, New Mexico is not going to make my top 10 list, but that's me. Because there's not a tree in sight. They're shrubs compared to what here in Arkansas we would call trees. So, give me these. The Ouachita Mountains is a perfectly nice mountain range. Is it Rockies? No, it's not Rockies. It's not Smokies. But it's plenty nice. It's not so flat that you can see, from Dallas to Amarillo. The trees. For me, it's the trees. I love the trees. I absolutely love trees. And I've confessed before, piney woods, I love them. I love them. Yep, I grew up in Louisiana, and so running around on pine needles, I know they can be a pain to deal with. I get it. I have to blow them off my driveway every morning, but I love them. I love them. So that retiring richer, it hinges on you getting what you want. Now, if there was no affordable place for me to experience a forest, then a forest would be beyond my reach. Thankfully, I'm low cost and low maintenance, and I don't love, beachfront's not my happy place. If beachfront's my happy place, I'm going to have to spend more money because it's just going to cost more money. So this is a case where it's just not one size fits all, and I want you to get this right. Everybody that has jumped on a Zoom call with me has heard me say a big part of the objective of our show is to help you get this right, because at this age, at retirement age, we cannot afford to get it wrong, and if we do get it wrong, we need to get it close to being right because we just don't have time to recover. I'm very mindful of the folks that were my age, and I'm past my mid-60s, but those people in 2008 when the housing thing went bust and stocks went crazy in a bad way, and people that lost a lot of their net worth. If you were my age back in '08, you're not recovering from that, not fully. And the impact that had on so many people in America and globally was just horrific. And I'm not a fearmonger, but yeah, it can scare us. And so we don't want to get this wrong. We want to get this right. And I want to help you get it right. And if getting it right means that you come to a quick decision or a longer decision that, yeah, Hot Springs Village is nice, but it's not for me, then that's a win. That's a win. And if you find out, hey, it's for me, that's also a win. There are many, many people who are here who now conclude, my regret is that I didn't do this sooner. My regret is that we didn't find out about it sooner. And then there are other people who are perfectly content and happy to have discovered, probably not right for us. And we're good with it. I was talking with a couple the other day from a state some distance away, and they really, after we met on Zoom, they really kind of concluded that they probably wanted some acreage, and they probably wanted something a bit more rural. And so I'm describing the highway out the east gate as you go toward Little Rock, toward Benton. Benton is an outer suburb of Little Rock. And I said, it's an 18-mile drive, and it's beautiful. And there's a lot of places on it, and there's a lot of offshoots, because they were talking about they wanted to kind of be over in this neck of the woods. They wanted to be between Little Rock and Hot Springs, maybe even in Hot Springs, maybe even in Little Rock, or somewhere in between. So I said, this geography in here, you could find, I haven't looked, but I'm really confident that you could find some acreage, whether you wanted a couple of acres or 5 acres or 10 or more. I bet you could find it between here and Little Rock, and that very well may be your cup of tea. And I don't know what they're going to do, but that was kind of the conclusion, of our call. So let's talk about retiring richer, and let's talk about cost, and let's talk about things like taxes, because at this age of life, fixed income is the thing. Fixed income being defined as we have a pension or some kind of retirement. We have Social Security. Maybe we have investment income from these investments that we've made all along our life. But these are things that, we're not working anymore. We're not bringing revenue in. Now, my hand's in the air because I'm the exception. I'm still working, and I plan to work. I plan to work until I can't work. Number one, I love what I do. And number two, I've got clients that rely on me. And the day job, by the way, is I coach leadership and executives in city government. And all of my clients are in Texas. I love the work. I encounter people all the time who are part-time retired. They still work part-time, and some of them, they can do this stuff anywhere. As long as they've got a good internet connection, they can work from anywhere. I know other people that would like to work part-time because supplementing their income would be important. But by and large, we're looking at fixed income. And what I think we can do, based on the conversations I'm having, is we can overlook the value of compounding saving money. We think about compounding interest, and we think about the money that we can earn from our investments, or we think about the money that we can earn from whatever retirement income we've got, and we think about if we can save some of that, we think about that compounding over time, but we rarely, if ever, think about the compounding of reducing our daily cost of living. It's a huge topic that everybody asks me about, because I've gone on record to say that as I've crunched the numbers for us, Hot Springs Village gives us not just affordability, but it gives us quality. So it gives us that richness in terms of dollars and in terms of lifestyle, just the way that we live our life. Now, to be fair, the house that we sold in Texas, when we moved into the apartment, the house that we sold was bigger and more expensive than what we bought in Hot Springs Village. And we chose to do that. You don't have to. I would venture to guess that if you kept your lifestyle similar, and I don't mean based on cost, but based on quality of a house and size of a house and all that, the odds of you getting more bang for your buck here in Hot Springs Village it's real. It's just real. But this cost of savings in your lifestyle, it's a real thing. Because we all know it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And what you keep is largely based on what you can save. And it's even more important during these years when there's not much that all of us can do to increase the inflow. It just kind of is what it is, based on what we've saved, based on our pensions, based on our Social Security. Now, for those of us that are still working, yeah, we can do something about it. And it's not that you could never turn that on if you needed to, but that might be tough. There are some tax advantages here. Number one, in Arkansas, there is no tax on Social Security. Secondarily, pensions up to $6,000 per person are exempt from taxes. And the place has some of the lowest property taxes in the nation. There is, I have come to find out, I knew this intellectually, but I just hadn't thought about it because I've never lived in a state that did not have state sales tax. But some of you do. And we do have a state sales tax. I would tell you that if you crunch the numbers, and I'm not telling you that I have, I've kind of sort of done it, but not in depth. The money that you're going to save in other areas is going to more than make up for what you might be out in sales tax. I have not found anybody, especially if you're coming from an economy that's very different than Arkansas. And for instance, if you came from Oklahoma, especially if you came from some more rural place in Oklahoma to here, your cost difference is going to be negligible. But from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas to here, it's a big number. It's a big number. For me and Rhonda, all things being equal, it's about a $2,000 to $3,000 a month difference. So when you start crunching that kind of number and you start thinking $24,000 to $36,000 a year saved, that makes a big difference in what you need to bring in so that you can live your life, and also so that you can live your life without feeling like you got a gun to your head that we've got to have this much money. If we don't have this much money, then we can't do the things that we want to do within reason. So if you do the comparisons, you're going to find housing here, your dollar's going to go further. I'd be just shocked if your dollars don't go further, because housing costs here in the state of Arkansas are significantly lower than the national average. And I think that holds pretty true even for Hot Springs Village. I would tell you that Hot Springs Village is likely going to be a little higher than the state average, but the state average is also impacted by places like Hot Springs Village, and it's really impacted by places like Bentonville and up in northwest Arkansas, which is expensive. It's just expensive. Is it expensive here? No. Can you buy an expensive home here? You absolutely can. But The cost is, this is an affordable place. It's an affordable place to buy. I've got some stats here that I'm looking for in my notes here, and this comes from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. And housing here in the state of Arkansas is typically 29% below the national average. So if the national average is 100%, then housing here is slightly over 71%. So that's about a 29% lower cost of housing in Arkansas. I don't have specific numbers for Hot Springs Village. It's not going to be 29%, but it's going to be something significant. The savings is going to be significant. The overall cost of living index for Arkansas is 86.9. And again, this is from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis 2024. So 86.9% with the national average being 100. And that's a little over, it's 13.1%. It's 13.1% lower cost of living overall in Arkansas. And again, your mileage will vary depending on how you live your life. And it'll vary depending on, okay, how fancy of a house do you want? Where do you want that house to be? If you want the house to be on a lake here inside the village, or you want it to be on a golf course, you're going to pay a premium. But it very well may be worth it for that retiring rich. Because maybe you sit out on your back porch like I'm sitting on mine, and you want to be looking at a golf course, or you want to be looking at a lake. I'm not looking at either one. I'm looking at trees. But I already told you my weakness. I love trees. So for me, it's a happy place. When it comes to health care and other things, health care costs in Arkansas typically are about 10% lower than the national average. Again, we do have some state tax. It's among the lowest in the nation. I just know couples that have retired here from places like New York and Florida and the Carolinas and the Midwest and Texas, and the savings, everybody, 100% of them report significant. Now, the level of significance for you may vary. I've already told you what mine are. Dollars just flat out go further. But let's talk about being rich even in other areas, and that is, you got 9 golf courses here, one being Diamante, one being kind of the country club. You got 11 lakes, you got hiking, you got pickleball, you got tennis, you got other things, and it's all affordable. And there's just boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of organizations and groups, not to mention just friendly folks from all over the country. All over the country. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I think I might know, I don't think I could count, I could count on one hand, frankly, half a hand, the number of people that I know who are here who are from Arkansas. I don't know that many people who are from Arkansas that are here. Not anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that there's a boatload of people who are here that they're not from here. So it's that kind of a melting pot. You're not giving up. One of the big advantages here is you're not giving up, in my opinion, any kind of quality to be here, because the cost of living is just that high. And if it's not to your liking, the topography, the scenery, the way of life, then that's another issue altogether. Hey, before I close, I'm going to address another kind of big elephant in the room. In the last 3 weeks, I've had 2 people that I've done these Zoom calls with who have kind of concluded the POA makes them nervous. Being a property owners association makes them nervous. Now, here's the irony of this. And I sometimes get comments at YouTube, and I get comments over in our Facebook group, and I do get emails inquiring about the POA. And true confession, I started this show in 2021 mostly because I did not understand the POA. I'd never even heard of a POA, a Property Owners Association. I'd heard of an HOA, but I didn't know anything about it. And because my work was coaching people in city government, I understood enough about city government, and so I was really intrigued with it. And I had a bunch of questions. And so I started the show for myself. I didn't start this show for you, sorry. I'm doing it now for you, but I'm still doing it for me too, because I'm still trying to figure this out. And true story, the thing that really prompted me to start this show, I was doing podcasts and other things that were related to work, and one not so much, a passion project. And I was watching during COVID, and I was watching a general manager that had a short stay here. He was here for about 6 or 8 months. And on this Zoom call, he's stepping down, he's resigning, and he's leaving the place. And he absolutely burned this place to the ground. Now, I'd been coming over here a lot, Airbnb, and my experience was perfectly lovely. And he got on a Zoom call, and he was just lambasting the place, and he was calling out all the social media ninnies, and there are social media ninnies, and they exist everywhere. There are people that they're going to gripe no matter what. Every community has those people. Do we have those people? We absolutely have those people. They are not in large numbers. Yes, they're loud because they're bored, and because they got way too much time on their hands, and they live on Nextdoor, and they live on Facebook, and they just love to gripe and moan and complain. You know, there are two ways to build the tallest building in a town. You know this story, don't you? That is to build a tall building, or to burn everybody else's down. And there are humans among us who just, what they love more than anything is to burn everybody else's house down. And so, do we have those people? We do have those people. Well, evidently those people got under this guy's skin, and so he just decided he'd just pull a pin out of a grenade and throw it in the middle of the floor and then walk out. And I just remember looking at that Zoom call and thinking, oh, what an idiot. It's not my experience. Okay, I don't live here, but I'd met people who lived here. I had stayed in people's homes as my Airbnb host, and I'd not heard what this man was spewing out there. And I thought, sour grapes, just walk away. Be gracious and leave. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. That's okay. Well, it made me want to dive more deeply into figuring this place out. And so that was a real impetus for me to start the show. And so I did. And as I began to learn some things, guess what I found out? I found out that just like every other community that I'd ever lived in, it wasn't perfect. Well, imagine that. I was shocked. No, I wasn't shocked at all. Is there some occasional dysfunction? Yeah, there is. Are we going to agree with everybody on everything? Are we going to agree with every decision that gets made by the people? We're not. Does that ruin the place? It could, I guess. It can ruin it for you. Like I said, I've had half a handful of people in the last 3 weeks who've come to the conclusion, the POA, it makes me nervous. I get it. And I tell everybody, I get it. Here's the big rub, because this is what I've encountered in my interactions with you. Those of you that moved into a place and the POA fees were X, and now some years later they're 4X, and nobody voted on it. The POA, or the HOA in this case, just kind of unilaterally upped the ante, and now it's like, well, we could afford $150 a month, but now it's pushing $500 a month, and we're getting priced out. The advantage here is the way the bylaws, the way the governing documents are written as members of the Property Owners Association. That means people that own property, and sometimes that property is a lot, sometimes that property is a house on a lot. But the property owners vote on the assessment. Our current assessment is $113.19 for a property that has a house on it. And we voted on that. And we agreed a few years ago to have an increase up to this point. In the future, if that gets elevated and raised, we as members of the Property Owners Association will vote on it. Well, that's different than being a member of an HOA that just arbitrarily does things. The other thing that I've encountered are people that it's my land, I bought this property, I'm going to build what I want on it. I don't care who says what, I'm going to build what I want on it, and you can't do that here. And if that irks you, then yeah, I would absolutely be the first in line to advise you, don't move here. Don't move here. I encountered somebody and they asked about a shop. You know, I'd like to build a 3-car shop in the back somewhere. And I said, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do that, but I'm going to tell you, number one, you'd need a bigger piece of property than the average lot size to do that. And you'd have to get approval. You'd have to get a permit. You'd have to go through the architectural committee and have that approved. I'm not saying you couldn't. There are houses here. We've got one down the street from us that has a 2-car detached garage. But, you know, the way this gentleman was describing what he really wanted, a shop, and he was describing what he has where he's at. And what he has where he's at is he's got one of these metal buildings, you know, a big door that opens up. And I said, the likelihood that you'd be able to build that here, I think, just me talking, I think would be slim. Well, that was going to be a deal breaker for him. Okay, that's great. Good to know that. Here's the interesting thing to me. Everybody wants the gates. Everybody wants the security. Everybody wants the gates. Everybody wants the safety. And I'm like, you do realize that if Hot Springs Village were to ever become a municipality, the gates go away. The gates go away. And as a result, some of the safety and some of the security, some of the peace and some of the tranquility, that goes away too. I'm not saying it all disappears, but it could. It could. Would I stay? Somebody asked me that the other day. Well, if the place ever turned into a municipality, what would you do? And I'm like, you know, I don't know. And I don't know. I know that I love it. I know that for us, it does more than check the boxes. And it may do that for you, and it may not. And the sooner you figure that out, the better it's going to be for you. And come on, that's the whole objective here. Retire richer. Does that mean Hot Springs Village? It could, may not, but it could. Come and visit. Come and visit. And as always, I'm going to encourage you to connect with Ken and Lori Henderson at McGraw Realtors, sponsors of the show. Rick Marshall, sponsor of the show. Connect with Brandon Tedder and Renaissance Homes. He is an exclusive builder here inside the village. Brandon does not build anywhere outside the village. He builds here. He's committed to this place. He knows this place, and he knows all the inner workings. He knows all the permitting process and all of that. He's a super terrific builder and a turnkey operator. These are people that you could connect with without any expectation to buy anything from them, and they would absolutely share their insights about this place with you and help kind of flatten that learning curve so that you could figure this out. HotSpringsVillageInsideOut.com, that's the website. My name is Randy. Thanks for clicking play.
Thanks for watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out. You'll find all our episodes at HotSpringsVillageInsideOut.com or on YouTube.